So, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Parsha Kiseitze. Interesting Parsha, famous Parsha. It talks about Ben Saramora, talk about Mamzer, we have the Parsha. We have Ishvas Torah in the Parsha, Gdilim, Osasher, Shor Chamor, Klayim, Tzitzit, Shabbos, a lot of things in the Parsha. I think the most mitzvahs in the whole Torah is Kiseitze. So, a lot of interesting things. This past Sunday, I was at Share Brachs, actually hosting Share Brachs, which I didn't go to the wedding. So I was the 10th person, Panim Chadashis for a wedding I didn't attend, and I was the host of it. So it was one of those awkward moments. Be that as it may. And the fellow who spoke talked about a lot of the mitzvahs are chained together. You have certain mitzvahs that are kind of tied together. Talked about marriage, the way you start a marriage, going through a marriage. Talked about your bias and a makkah, your roof, and different things that are stringed together. I know the famous string of mitzvahs in the beginning of the parsha. We have Ishvas Torah, and we have Bechor, and we have Ben Saramora. And then towards the middle end of the parsha, we have talks about a mamzer. And I think there's an interesting combination of these mitzvahs. These mitzvahs that kind of make you think about the future. They're mitzvahs that you're kind of warned against, which seem kind of innocuous in the beginning, but that have ramifications a little bit down the road. You look at mamzer, for example. Yerushalmi says that there's certain mitzvahs maybe a mamzer doesn't do. Maybe a mamzer can't be ola regel. Maybe a mamzer can't be called to the Torah. Different halachas of a mamzer. But the Pershul Yerushalmi, the Korban Eda and Pnei Moshe says that mamzer is very smart. Mamzer is very smart because the father was a cunning man, was a wise man. Well, wise, but a tricky man. Because to get to be a mamzer, the father had to be cheating on his wife with another person that was an erva or someone that would be chayav kares with. So because he spent his whole life kind of going around and sleeping around, the son is a mamzer, and he's very smart. So mamzer are very smart. So the Yerushalmi, the Pershul Yerushalmi mentions that there's this kind of machshava that goes into what your actions are, and that leads to ramifications down the road. Same thing with Ishvas Torah, Bechor, Ben Saramora. Person, can't just think, oh well, Ishvas Torah says I could do it, no problem. You go to battle and you see this woman that's non-Jew that you want to marry. You take her, there's a whole process, and she becomes mutter at some point. You wait a month, and then you can marry her. Fantastic. So, what's the problem? The Torah allows you to do this. It's actually in the Torah. It tells you how to do it. That's fine. The process is okay, but the initial thought process wasn't something that the Torah wants or condones. The Torah does not want a soldier to go to battle and to really be thinking about taking some of these captive as wives. That's not our purpose. Chemes mitzvah, you can't let anybody live. Chemes reshus, you're there for a certain job. You're there to protect Eretz Yisrael. You're there to conquer Eretz Yisrael. You're there to make your lives safer. And we don't condone a soldier going in there. So even though the Torah makes it mutter, you know what? There's going to be you can't fight this Yetzer Hara, so we allow her to do it. But lechatchila is not a great thing. And while the Torah says it's okay, down the path is not a good path because it leads to having a wife that you hate and child, even if it's a bachar, you're supposed to treat it like a bachar, but the ben is someone that you're not going to really care for, you're not going to really want. Because at some point, you're going to lose favor with this wife, and the children that she has, you're not going to favor them over your normal or your regular wife, and that's going to lead to Ben Saramora. And that's kind of the crux, really, of where a lot of Shabbos tables all over the world, everyone's going to ask the question, what is it? What's going on here? Why do we have Ben Saramora in the Torah? The Gemara in Sanhedrin, Perek Ben Saramora, never happened. When the first Brisa says it did happen, I was there on the grave. Second, it didn't happen. So why do we have this? And even if it did happen, how is this child who's 13 who stole money from his parents? He ate a lot of meat, drank a lot of wine, how are we killing this person? How does it make sense? What is going on here? And the famous line from Rashi is, better innocent than guilty. And then that's another question is, well, he's not innocent really because he's stealing, not listening to his parents, not listening to the Sanhedrin. He's eating and drinking as much as he wants. So is he innocent? Is he guilty? Well, what's going on here? So the Pri Tzaddik has an interesting take, which I don't think addresses the major question, but addresses some of what's taking place here. Because towards the end of the parsha, we'll talk about Ben Soreh Moreh, is the whole people all should see it. Yishmo v'ro. Everyone should see this. V'telo oso al eitz. You put them on eitz, on a tree, and everyone should see this. Again, if it never happened, or never will happen, then what are we talking about? Why everyone should see it? What's the purpose of this? Because the rules are very restrictive. The Gemara says it's a certain age, 13 and a half. The parents have to have the exact same sounding voice. They have to look the same. A lot of things have to happen. Therefore, it either never happened, or maybe it happened at some level. Avshalom maybe was Ben Soreh Moreh. So what's going on? So the Pri Tzaddik really kind of takes a step back and says, even if it never happened, the lesson's still there. Even if it never happened, it'll never be in the history of the world an actual Ben Soreh Moreh, 13-year-old child, male, that we're going to kill for doing certain things. The lesson's there. And the lesson is eitz, Talisa Oso al eitz, the tree. The original sin that Adam Chava, eat from the tree, the original sin of Taiva, that is the sin. And the guilty one isn't the kid, the guilty one are the parents. They're the ones who created this mess. And their child is going to die, it has to die. Nothing to do with the kid. The kid didn't do anything that really merited a death penalty, but the sin was from the parents, and it's being manifested through the child. This father and the mother, Ishvas Toar, they got together just because they had the desire, and because they conceived this child in this state of this taiva and desire, this child now that's born is going to have these issues, and Sanhedrin puts them to death. But again, everyone should see this. Everyone should see this. Well, what's great about seeing this if it never happened? Well, the point is, these are important lessons. Because if you are a person of desire and you only follow your desires, this would happen down the road. And this is something that's not just one person or several people. This is everybody. We all have this. Pri Tzaddik says there's 11 times 11 times in the Torah. 10 times for Aseret Dibros, one for each Dibra, and 11th time is when Mashiach comes. So every time it's mentioned, getting rid of the evil from your midst, that's great, but it's not gone forever. Sometimes we do an Aveira out of Taiva, we do Tshuva, a year later maybe it comes back, or 2 years later, or sometimes it comes back. So even though there is there's trying to get rid of this badness from ourselves, the only time it goes away forever is number 11, when Mashiach, when David comes, and then Yetzer Hara will be gone. So until that point, we actually have 10 Chol Yisrael, Yishmu V'ro, Loiz and Od. We have 10 times, 10 times, because can come and go, and even after Aseret Dibros, even after Matan Torah, Egel, other issues of Taiva in the Midbar, so unfortunately it always comes back. So the lesson, really, that the Pri Tzaddik wants to show is not just one single action, and this Ben Soreh Moreh, he's the problem. The problem is, unfortunately, Allah eitz. It's unfortunately a problem within all of us, and the problem that led to this child either being killed or almost being killed is not so much what he did, but was the fault of the parents and being led to actions of taiva. Shabbat Shalom. Bye.